Alright, so today we are going to be talking about a topic that really gets me worked up probably way more than it should. Today we're going to talk about why or how or what's going on with J.K. Rowling and why she doesn't seem to understand Slytherin house. Alright, so my first point is going to be one that I feel like always gets the fandom of Slytherins kind of worked up, and it comes from book 1, The Philosopher or Sorcerer's Stone, depending on where you're from. And it's at the very end when Dumbledore's awarding points, and you know what, I'm not even going to explain it to you, just roll clip.
And now, as I understand it, the House Cup needs awarding, and the points stand thus. In 4th place, Gryffindor with 312 points. 3rd place, Hufflepuff with 352 points. In 2nd place, Ravenclaw with 426 points. And in 1st place, with 472 points, Slytherin house.
So you're sitting there and you're watching this and you're like, yeah, we won again. Snape's led us to victories for like the 8th year in a row. Woo! Hard work paid off. And then this happened.
However, recent events must be taken into account. And I have a few last-minute points to award. Assuming that my calculations are correct, I believe that a change of decoration is in order. Gryffindor wins the House Cup.
And that's when it happens. That's when your little snake heart sinks, it breaks in half, and you can't help but feel like that's like our first sense that there is a narrative bias against Slytherin house. Before in the story we saw that there is definitely a character bias against the house, but since the story is framed from Harry's point of view, of course there is, but this is where there was like a narrative bias where working hard and gaining points lost out to Harry, Ron, and Hermione breaking the rules and thus getting awarded points for not following instructions. So I think that it's this moment that even when I was younger and my dad was reading me the books, and then when I was a kid and the first Harry Potter movie came out, that I kind of felt like the house that I liked the most and that I identified with the most wasn't being treated fairly by the author or the story. Alright, so let's roll it on back and think about what is Slytherin house, like what do they stand for? So those primary virtues that Slytherin house espouses and praises and favors in their students and tries to build up within them are pride, cunning, ambition, fraternity, and traditionalism. All of these on their own aren't really bad qualities to have. Honestly, can you think of a successful person in the real world who doesn't embody at least one of those traits? The answer to that hypothetical question is no, because if you didn't have ambition or any kind of pride, you probably wouldn't become a CEO or like a Supreme Court justice. So, penny for your thoughts on that one. But what I'm getting at is in the story of Harry Potter, we're kind of told, since it's from Harry's point of view, that we should look at these traits as negative, that cunning is actually sneakiness and that pride is being arrogant. And yeah, when taken to the extreme, those things could be true, but in moderation, just like Gryffindor bravery can go from brave to just brash and stupid in the blink of the eye, why would you assign such negative characteristics to a house, especially one full of children? I'm sorry, I get very wound up about this of all things. But let's continue with some more facts. Okay, so the second point that I want to talk about in this whole J.K. Rowling doesn't seem to understand why people are so adamantly in favor of Slytherin and the house and the characters as a whole is, well, she doesn't seem to understand why we like the characters. As many of you know, J.K. Rowling is very active on Twitter. It used to be fun, now it's just kind of like, ugh, Joe, dear, stop, just stop. That being said, I wanted to read one of J.K. Rowling's posts from Twitter about Draco Malfoy, which I feel like really kind of sums up kind of why she doesn't seem to understand why we like this character. She said, Draco turns 35 today. I'm not invited to the party, mainly because I keep telling girls they're misguided to fancy him. What? Okay, so I'm not a Draco Malfoy fangirl, but I can definitely understand why people liked him, gravitated towards him, and then eventually chose him as their main wizarding man to favor in the story. So Draco's kind of an ass. Actually, let's be real, he's totally an ass in all of the stories, but he is a troubled character, and he, despite what J.K. Rowling says, does exist in that moral gray area that people find really interesting. This character has essentially grown up in the wizarding version of Hitler Youth and has really struggled with that, even though he comes off as really arrogant and prideful and a bully. As he grows older and he's given this task by Voldemort to go and kill Dumbledore, he struggles and he can't do it. He can't say the words. It's a 2-word spell, and he stands there and he's just like, And then when Snape does kill Dumbledore, Draco just stands there like, hello darkness, my old friend. I think what I am trying to get across, but I know I'm rambling because I get like so annoyed when I think about this, is that this was a character that had so many layers, that went through a growth process throughout the entire story, and then had a moment where he realized that everything that he was gearing up to become wasn't what he was meant to do. He didn't have that like inner darkness and hatred and rage like so many of the other Death Eaters had, and so he couldn't, when the time came, use the killing curse on Dumbledore. He just couldn't bring himself to do it. He hesitated, and Snape had to come in and do it for him. But the point of this video was to discuss that J.K. Rowling, as the author of the Harry Potter world and the Grand Master of the Wizarding world that we are all in love with, doesn't seem to understand Slytherin House. This is going to be part 1 of a video. Obviously, part 1 we've talked about the kind of primary virtues of Slytherin House that she doesn't seem to grasp can be positive things, and obviously that heart-wrenching scene. Play it one more time. Hello darkness, my old friend. In my next video, I want to talk more about Slytherin House as it's presented in the entire series. We're going to move past the traumatic scene that I promise I won't show again, and then we're going to talk about a couple of other prominent Slytherins, including Salazar himself, Voldemort, some of the Death Eaters, and we're going to just talk more in depth about that, and how J.K. Rowling just doesn't seem to really care that people like this house and we're not all supervillains. So like I said, this was part 1 of what's going to be maybe another 2 or 3 videos. Well, maybe it'll be like its own continuing series because it doesn't cease making me mad. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, ring the bell for notifications, leave a comment. What house are you in? I want to know. Are there any other Slytherins out there watching this video? You're probably the only people who would care about such a thing. So thank you again for watching, and I'll be back shortly with another video. Thanks guys.